Has LMNT been lying to you? I'm going to show you guys the information I have uncovered, and let's see what conclusion we can come to. Hey guys, Chris Cook in Nashville here. I wanted to address this because this has been everywhere on social media. I have my own thoughts on this, and I don't know if I have come to any real distinct conclusions about some of the things that are being said online. So I want to share with you what I have uncovered as I have been researching this and what I think is kind of going on. And I'm going to show you where I'm getting my information and kind of let you sound off and see what you think about this. Let's take a look at this LMNT maltodextrin controversy. So to start off with, I'm going to show you guys something from the LMNT website. And most of my information today is coming directly from the LMNT website. So I'm going to put this up on the screen, and this is what it says. How is LMNT different from other electrolyte brands? It's simple. LMNT is a zero sugar electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. Our ratio stands out. LMNT delivers a truly meaningful dose of electrolytes without the sugar, junky fillers, or artificial coloring found in other sports drinks. So these are all things that are being said by LMNT on their website as part of their marketing. And I think for a long time, everyone has believed this to be 100% true. Everyone has bought into this. And this is why so many people have used LMNT. LMNT is also a great business mind company because they have done marketing on social media in so many different places. And they have a lot of influencers that are sponsored. I am not one of them. So I am saying everything here as someone who does not have a contractual obligation to say one thing or another about LMNT. Now, I will also be completely transparent and tell you that I do affiliate work with Keto Chow and with their electrolyte brand, SALTT. However, I am not under any kind of contract with SALTT saying that I have to say a certain thing or that I have to put them in any of my materials or that I have to do any advertisements for them. I talk about SALTT when I choose to talk about SALTT. I have an affiliate link. When you click on that, I get a small commission off of any of the purchases you make with Keto Chow or SALTT. You can choose to use it. You can choose to not. And if I recommend the product and then you don't like it, that hurts my business because SALTT is not paying me to say anything specific. They are only paying me based on the sales that my link generates, and that is totally and autonomously handled within-house within Chris Cooking Nashville. So since I have that out of the way and you understand where I'm coming from, I also want to read you something else from LMNT's website, which is our commitment to you. When you purchase LMNT, you know exactly what you're getting. You're getting an electrolyte drink that's been thoughtfully sourced and diligently tested for impurities and quality every time. All this rigor reflects our commitment to you, not an abstract commitment, but a personal one. The cans and stick packs we sell are the same we drink ourselves and share with our loved ones. Enjoy LMNT in good health and stay salty. Now, I think that's a great commitment for a company like this to have to people. It should be about the consumer and it should be about their health. A couple of things I would like to take note of before we go into any of the is LMNT lying to you information and any of the other stuff we're talking about. Take note of a couple of things. Thoughtfully sourced and diligently tested for impurities and quality every time. All this rigor reflects our commitment to you, not an abstract commitment, but a personal one. Just a couple of things to take note of there. We're going to talk about that more in a moment. This is another section of LMNT's website that says natural flavors at the top where they're talking about what's in their natural flavors. And I want to read just one part of this to you, this first paragraph. Natural flavors are a hot button topic these days, as we have all seen. I understand why folks get worried. Many different flavors can be combined to comprise the natural flavors listed under any one item's ingredients, meaning natural flavors don't always contain the same thing. Personally, I have celiac disease, which makes me extra cautious of what's in my food. If I see natural flavors on the ingredient list, I do more digging before I'm comfortable consuming the item. Now, this is a post, as are most of these things I'm reading on the blog portion of the Element website, from Rob Wolf, one of the co-founders of Element. Let me read this part again. Personally, I have celiac disease, which makes me extra cautious of what's in my food. If I see natural flavors on the ingredient list, I do more digging before I'm comfortable consuming the item. This then takes me back to what we just read a moment ago, our commitment to you, where it says you're getting an electrolyte drink that's been thoughtfully sourced and diligently tested for impurities and quality every time. Now, that is a direct statement that comes after saying when you purchase Element, you know exactly what you're getting. This is the next section I want to look at. Are the natural flavors in Element safe? We only use natural flavors with well-established safety profiles. The FDA regulates which flavors are generally recognized as safe, but some compounds have more safety data than others. We were diligent to avoid anything questionable in our products and always will be. We're super sensitive to allergy concerns as well. Our suppliers, manufacturers, and an independent third-party test at every point along the production process. The raw materials, the bulk mix of blended raw materials, and the finished product themselves. Our natural flavors supplier is held to the same standards we hold all of our partners. Regular audits ensure compliance with FDA food manufacturing guidance under 21 CFR 117, including sanitation, employee hygiene, specific allergen programs, and overall good manufacturing practices. To learn more about how we ensure excellence in product quality and testing, check out this article. So Element is testing every single step of their process and have a third party handling this, plus the manufacturer, plus all of these other different ways they're doing this. They're monitoring their product process from beginning all the way through the packaged product that you would get in the box at the end. I think that's great. Let's go a little bit deeper. Our testing process. All of our manufacturing facilities are either SQF or NSF certified, and all are good manufacturing practices certified. We test every lot of Element with third parties for heavy metals, bacterial contamination, and mineral content, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and a certificate of analysis is received from the third party certifying the test results. We also test for flavor, texture, and overall consistency. Sampling Element all day is tough work, but someone has to do it. We test at multiple points in the production process. Our raw materials are tested first by the supplier and arrive with COAs that meet our specifications. If they do not meet the specifications, the materials are rejected. We also test the bulk mix of blended raw materials and then the finished Element drink mix stick packs and sparkling cans themselves. If it's not clear already, we test extremely carefully. We drink Element ourselves daily and we share it with our kids, parents, and friends. We make sure that every stick pack and can has a purity, quality, and consistency we can stand by as we help our community hydrate for better health. So I think it's pretty clear Element has set up the idea that they are testing everything within their product from the beginning of production, where it is in a raw form, all the way through the end product that you receive in the mail if you are one of their customers. And they do this because their commitment is to you, the consumer, because that is the most important thing. And they take that relationship seriously. And Rob Wolf goes so far as to give a personal example from his own life of why it matters so much that you know everything that is in a product, because he understands the importance of this as someone who has celiac disease himself. And he knows that if you don't have the right information, you cannot make a healthy choice for yourself. Here is where the controversy has come from over the last weeks. This is in a blog post on the website, and if you are looking for this in some kind of a banner or some announcement or something on the main page, you're not going to find this. If you want to see this yourself, you're probably going to need to go to Google and type in Element Maltodextrin, and you will find this blog post, which is where I've pulled some of this stuff from. But here's the section that I would like to show you. Today, we use a range of 250 to 550 milligrams, approximately 1/10 of a teaspoon of maltodextrin as a flavor carrier. The maltodextrin used in LMNT is gluten-free, GMO-free, and derived from corn. While we highlight and examine maltodextrin in this article, it's not included on our labels because it's a flavor carrier rather than an added ingredient. We continue to listen to our community on their personal health journeys and are in the process of evaluating other flavor carriers. Many folks ask me whether the maltodextrin in LMNT will increase blood sugar levels. I have personally tested myself on a continuous glucose monitor and have never seen a blood sugar increase when drinking LMNT. I believe because the maltodextrin is such a small amount. Other folks in our community have said the same. I encourage you to test it on yourself and to always make your own health choices when it comes to your health. Now, everybody knows LMNT had made the statement that there were 4 milligrams of maltodextrin as a flavor carrier in a packet. That meant if you wanted a teaspoon of maltodextrin, you would have to drink somewhere around 1,000 packets. That is an almost inconsequential amount for pretty much anyone, and there may be some people out there that have special sensitivities that they need to avoid all maltodextrin. I totally understand that. Unfortunately, the industry standard is that maltodextrin is the most common carrier, it seems, for natural flavors. They're going to be in a powdered form like this. So unfortunately, maltodextrin tends to be in a lot of different things. And I'm actually totally okay with a small amount of maltodextrin. For me personally, it does not cause a problem. So I'm not too worried about it. This is the problem I have. I can give grace to anyone out there if a mistake was made. I can give grace to anyone for maybe not being aware of what is in a product if they find out later on that there's a problem, whatever the case may be. And now, good on LMNT, they have made it available for people to find the information, acknowledging that there's 250 to 550 milligrams actually of maltodextrin in those packets, which is a lot more than we thought it was. And I can get on board with the fact that maybe they didn't know, because what LMNT says is that they had third-party testing done and confirmed that it's actually 250 to 550 milligrams per packet. So if you're wondering if LMNT is lying to you or not, I don't really know, because on the surface of what we have been told, it seems that the flavor manufacturer told LMNT that they were using 4 milligrams in any of their flavoring packets and that it was an inconsequential amount, which LMNT would then believe and communicate that to you, trusting that their flavor manufacturer was telling the truth. So was the flavor manufacturer telling the truth, and then LMNT was telling you something different? Or was the flavor manufacturer lying to LMNT, whether intentionally or unintentionally, giving them false information? I'm not sure where the breakdown in communication happened, but somewhere along the way, there has been a breakdown in communication of understanding how much maltodextrin is actually in the packets of LMNT. So first of all, the good. Let me say LMNT has done their due diligence, apparently, of having this tested and making sure that they do in fact have accurate information of what is in their product. They also have put this information on their website to show you that there are 250 to 550 milligrams. They are also correct, I believe, in saying that for a lot of people, this is probably an insignificant amount. And it's an industry standard that this is how flavor is put in something like this typically. This is what the industry does. This is how natural flavors are made. Be that right or wrong, that's just what the industry standard is. So I think LMNT has communicated good information in being accurate finally with 250 to 550 milligrams of maltodextrin. I think they have communicated this is an industry standard. They have communicated that this is probably not enough to really move the blood sugar needle for most people who have a properly functioning metabolic health as it relates to their blood sugar. That all seems really good. And I think LMNT has done a good job of making sure to have correct information now. Now the bad, and this is just my own opinion and my perspective, and hear me out. I am not against LMNT. I am not angry at LMNT. I am not upset at any of the creators who are sponsored by LMNT who have different opinions about this. I'm not saying anyone who drinks LMNT is wrong. I'm not telling you you shouldn't drink LMNT. I'm not telling you you should drink LMNT. You need to make your own decision for your own health as to whether or not you drink LMNT. The bad that I have to say, though, is somewhere in this breakdown of communication, something went horribly wrong compared to what is being said on LMNT's website. Let's revisit a couple of things. All of our manufacturing facilities are either SQF or NSF certified, and all are good manufacturing practices certified. So if all of the manufacturing facilities and all of the things that they're using are certified, that makes you say, okay, I can trust that Element knows what's going on. This is all being created in a way that we have correct information and we know what's going on with all of this. It is safe for our consumption. They also say we test every lot of Element with third parties for heavy metals, bacterial contamination, and mineral content, and a certificate of analysis is received from the third party certifying the test results. So you have a third party that is testing everything that's going into this, which honestly is probably how they figured out that there was way more maltodextrin than they were being told. That's my guess anyway. I wasn't there, so I can't say for sure, but it would seem that that's probably where this comes from. We test at multiple points in the production process. Our raw materials are tested first by the supplier and arrive with COAs that meet our specifications. If they do not meet the specifications, the materials are rejected. So my question becomes, what are you testing for in the raw materials that would then lead you to a breakdown of communication where you are completely unaware that there's not just a little more maltodextrin than the 4 grams. There's up to 100 plus times the amount of maltodextrin in one of these packets as to what Element thought was in it. If you have this rigorous of testing for all of these other things, either you're not testing for maltodextrin, or if you are, you're not paying any attention to it. So how do you know what is or is not in your packet if you claim this intense of testing at every step of the process, and yet you were not off by a little bit, you were off by 100 times because that's what the flavor manufacturer said? My question becomes, who's doing the testing and why are they doing the testing and not catching something like this? Now, to be fair, maybe maltodextrin is not one of the things they tested for, which I would totally understand. And this is why I've said I can have grace for a company that maybe was unaware and now wants to change their practice as they have been made aware of something. I'm totally on board with that. And I'm not anti-Element or upset about this or in any way affected by this because, to be perfectly frank, I don't drink Element. We used to, and Ash never felt good drinking it. It just doesn't work for us personally. We didn't care for the flavor, so we switched over to SALTT by Keto Chow when they came out with that. That's what we drink because we feel much better. We like the flavors better. That's just what works for us. So we don't drink Element, so I don't really have any skin in this game. However, this is why I really do care. How is Element different from other electrolyte brands? Element is a zero sugar electrolyte drink mix. Okay, well, maybe zero sugar, but not zero carb from that standpoint because the amount of maltodextrin that is in there is not trace enough to be considered nothing. That's enough to cause a 10-point blood sugar spike, 15-point blood sugar spike in a bunch of people in the community that are reporting this. And it's like, well, this is why we don't drink Element because it has too much maltodextrin and it's causing a blood sugar spike. Now, is a 10-point spike or a 15-point spike that big of a deal? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not really sure. This is an individual decision everyone needs to make. But I do think it's a real thing, and this is why a lot of people have reported they don't drink Element. But here's the thing. There's more maltodextrin than there is the potassium and magnesium, and this is supposed to be an electrolyte supplement that we can feel good about. The statement is right here on the website. Element delivers a truly meaningful dose of electrolytes without the sugar, junky fillers, or artificial coloring found in other sport drinks. Well, if you have more maltodextrin than you do potassium and magnesium, it kind of seems to me like there's junky fillers. And I'm not trying to dog on Element here. I'm just saying the marketing of that seems to be in contrast to what's actually going on in the packet. Now, is it the amount of maltodextrin that I care about? No. 250 to 550 milligrams of maltodextrin is not a concern for me because I'm not a diabetic. I don't have a particular sensitivity to maltodextrin. That's not an issue for me personally. But if you're going to say there's no junky fillers and there's no sugar, you should probably make sure there's not enough junky fillers and something that just turns into sugar in your body, especially because maltodextrin is a much higher glycemic index load than sugar actually is, before you tell people that there's no sugar and there's no junky fillers. Now, I know what you're going to say, Chris, Element wasn't aware of this, and of course, they would have told us, and this is all stuff before they knew that there was maltodextrin. And I'll concede, maybe they did not know. But this is my concern if they truly did not know. Our commitment to you When you purchase LMNT, you know exactly what you're getting. That is LMNT's statement. That is like their mission statement. You're getting an electrolyte drink that's been thoughtfully sourced and diligently tested for impurities and quality every time. Also this, personally, I have celiac disease, which makes me extra cautious of what's in my food. If I see natural flavors on the ingredient list, I do more digging before I'm comfortable consuming the item. That's smart. The cans and stick packs we sell are the same we drink ourselves and share with our loved ones. If I see natural flavors on the ingredient list, I do more digging before I'm comfortable consuming the item. The cans and stick packs we sell are the same we drink ourselves and share with our loved ones. We're super sensitive to allergy concerns as well. Our suppliers, manufacturers, and an independent third-party test at every point along the production process. The raw materials, the bulk mix of blended raw materials, and the finished product themselves. When you purchase LMNT, you know exactly what you're getting. The cans and stick packs we sell are the same we drink ourselves. If I see natural flavors on the ingredient list, I do more digging before I'm comfortable consuming the item. We're super sensitive to allergy concerns. Our suppliers, manufacturers, and an independent third-party test at every point along the production process. The raw materials, the bulk mix of blended raw materials, and the finished product themselves. And now somewhere, some breakdown of communication has led us to here where we, expecting to see 4 milligrams of maltodextrin, have learned we use a range of 250 to 550 milligrams of maltodextrin as a flavor carrier. We continue to listen to our community on their personal health journeys and are in the process of evaluating other flavor carriers. Now, good on LMNT for the fact that they're looking at other flavor carriers, but my question is how, if it is so important that allergy concerns and knowing what's in every part of your product, knowing what that natural flavor thing means, and you have third-party testing happening at every step of the process along the way, how were we 100 times off understanding what was in an LMNT packet? It's not about the amount of maltodextrin that concerns me. It's the fact that we don't know, after stating that we are testing every part of the process with not only the manufacturers, but also a third party, we don't apparently know what's in it. And when the manufacturer for the flavor compounds says the natural flavoring contains approximately 4 milligrams, we don't know that that's 100 times off. Now, I'm not saying LMNT is to blame for this. I don't know. If LMNT was to blame for this, that would mean they were just lying to their consumer, which would be against everything that I have just shown you on their website. However, if LMNT is not to blame for this, well, then that would mean that the flavor manufacturer is to blame for this, for saying that there was 4 milligrams when there was actually close to 100 times that, or even more. If that's the case, well, that's still against all of the marketing that is on the LMNT website. So for me, it's not about the amount of maltodextrin that's in here. It's about how can I trust that I know what is in LMNT if between the flavor manufacturer and LMNT as a company, there is such a breakdown of communication that by the time it gets to the consumer, we're 100 times off of one of the ingredients. Who is at fault for this? I don't know. I can't say that LMNT is lying or that the flavor manufacturer is lying or that any of this was intentional. I don't know. Maybe it was completely accidental. My big concern, though, is if we don't know, how do we get the right information to make good decisions for ourselves? Now, I'm not saying you should not drink LMNT. I'm not trying to throw LMNT under the bus. I'm not trying to disparage them. I'm not saying they are evil. I'm not saying they've done anything intentionally wrong. I am saying if you are going to make informed decisions about your health, what you choose to consume, and how to take the best care of your family you possibly can, information like this needs to be transparent. And I hope that LMNT will do the right thing and make this right, and that they will be looking into other flavor carriers and other options and things they can do for regaining the trust of the consumers that are buying their product. I will say I reached out to LMNT on social media and asked about this on a post that said no dodgy ingredients. And I said, well, what about all of the maltodextrin we have just learned is in your LMNT packs. And the response that I got was a very form letter version of it's not a consequential amount, something that doesn't really matter that it's in there, it doesn't move blood sugar, whatever. And I wrote back and I said, my concern is not the amount of maltodextrin. My concern is the breakdown of communication that has led us here. Why are you saying the same thing to me that's already on your website? I know about that. I'm saying what assurances are being made that that's not the only thing you're unaware of. And again, I got a very simple response saying none of this is a thing. You don't need to worry about this, whatever. It was all marketing, and it was done in a private message instead of being answered publicly in front of the community who was asking the same questions. I'm not here to try to tear LMNT down. I'm here to try to help the community understand the difference between what is being done right and what is being done wrong. I'm not saying LMNT is to blame, but I am saying the way this has been handled and the breakdown in communication that has led us from our commitment to you is that we know everything in this and you can trust us to, sorry, there was 400 milligrams or more of this, which is actually 100 times what we told you it was, but we were completely unaware of that. So it's not our fault. How do we get from point A to point B? Whose fault is that? That's what happened. That's my big concern. I am saying I have no idea how we got to this point because this seems like bad business and a real breakdown of communication. And I hope that LMNT is willing to fix this because it seems like a real problem. And I think they violated the trust of a lot of people in the community, not because the amount of maltodextrin is life-changing, but because the commitment they made by stating they knew everything and you could trust them has now been shown to be demonstrably false. And I would really like to see LMNT step up, publicly admit, not in a blog post on their website that's hidden amongst all the other blog posts, publicly make the statement, sorry, we screwed up. We want to re-earn the trust of a community that has relied on us for so long. That's all I want to see them do. I'm still waiting to see that. That being said, we do not drink LMNT in this house because, again, it does not make us feel our best. If it works for you, I think that's wonderful. But if you are looking for something that has no maltodextrin, you're looking for something that feels really good to drink when you get all of the different electrolytes that you need, my personal recommendation, because of what I use on a daily basis, would be to get SALTT from Keto Chow because it is a very similar type product as far as its purpose, but they use acacia gum, not maltodextrin, and they are very clear about their process. I think Chris and Miriam Bair do a great job of stomping their feet, as it were, as a manufacturer, going to flavor manufacturers and other companies that provide the raw materials, putting their foot down and saying, you will not use this, you will use that, and we will be testing it to make sure that it is properly done. Is that clear? Do you understand what we are asking of you as a flavor manufacturer, and will you do what we're asking you to do? And when those flavor manufacturers say, yes, Keto Chow and SALTT do the work to make sure that they know every single ingredient. You can contact Keto Chow and SALTT, and you can ask them to give you a full rundown of everything that is in their product, and they will show you the ins and outs of every ingredient they use without giving away proprietary information. There is elements of this that they can't share because you don't want to give away your proprietary secrets and your trade secrets. But they do the diligence to make sure they know what is in the product. That's why I use SALTT. That's why I trust what's in their electrolyte packets. And I can tell you, if something like this came out about SALTT, I would be just as concerned about that as I am about the LMNT. Because again, I don't get some kind of paycheck from SALTT other than the commission that comes off of the packets that I sell. And if I found out there was a bunch of stuff in SALTT that was not supposed to be there, or that they had been misleading people, or that they were unaware, whatever the case may be, I would have just as much reason to step away from them as I would LMNT, because I'm not paid to say something about LMNT one way or another, or SALTT one way or another. I am completely free and clear of any kind of contractual obligation to say something one way or another. I only talk about my experience, and the reason I have an affiliate link with SALTT and Keto Chow is because I personally use their stuff. I like it, and I respect the transparency with which they run their business. And if that changed, I would stop promoting that because that would be my reputation on the line by attaching my reputation to theirs. And that's something I would not want to do. So I'm not saying that you should throw away your Element if you have some, that you should cancel your subscription, that you shouldn't give Element any more money, that you shouldn't drink Element if that's something that you're okay with and you feel good. If you're feeling good and your health is doing well, go for it. Enjoy the Element. I think overall, they probably have a pretty good product. I'm just concerned about the business practice of them not knowing what is inside their own product. And I'm hoping that Rob Wolf and the rest of the team there will publicly acknowledge the breakdown in communication. They will take the steps to fix that, to re-earn the trust of the community, and they will remove the junk and dodgy ingredients that their marketing says doesn't exist, that we have all now found out was there, and apparently they didn't know the entire time. I hope Element will live up to their commitment to you guys as consumers and that they will do their diligence as they have claimed they have been doing. I hope they will live up to that and they will continue to improve their product and they will take the maltodextrin out, or at the very least, publicly state this is what's in it, this is why it's marketed the way that it is, and if it doesn't work for you, that's fine, but we need to publicly acknowledge that we gave out bad information. If they want to do that and they want to stick with their current product formulation, that's their choice. They are perfectly within their rights to do that. But I hope that they will learn a little bit more about their product so that they can give more transparency to the community and that they will hopefully re-earn the trust that I think maybe has been violated, whether they meant to or not. I think that trust has been violated in a big way, not because the amount of maltodextrin is the issue, but because their lack of knowledge about it, whether intentional or unintentional, means they gave false information to their consumers, which goes against the very commitment they make publicly on their website. Guys, thank you so much for watching. My link for Keto Chow and SALTT is going to be in the description box down below. If you would like to get 10% off of your SALTT order and you want to try those electrolytes, if that maltodextrin does not work for you and you're looking for an alternative, my favorite is SALTT. I would suggest you try it. You can use that link to get a discount. The only reason I care about that is because SALTT works for me and I believe in them as a company. Thank you, Chris Bair and Miriam, for running the company the way you do with transparency. If SALTT doesn't work for you guys, I totally understand. If you love Element, I totally understand. Just hope that you guys will intentionally vote with your dollars for companies that are doing the due diligence to be transparent so that you have the best information to make the best choice for your health. All the love that I can give to all the creators out there who do work with Element and enjoy Element and are sponsored by Element, nothing against them. I hope that everything continues to go well for them, and I hope they can still believe in the product. And I hope between them and hopefully Element making some good decisions, they can rebuild the trust in the community. I hope everybody continues on a wonderful journey to better health. Thank you for being here. This is Chris cooking Nashville. You guys eat your meat, maybe drink your SALTT Electrolytes if you'd like to try them. Love your life. I'll see you here in my studio or somewhere else for more recipes, more informational health videos, and who knows what else.